Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So I actually had another video planned for today because I was supposed to be making an announcement today, but I hired a publicist to write a press release for me, and they're supposed to get it to me by yesterday so we could hit the news today before my episode of Storage Wars airs tonight at 9 p.m. on A&E, so check that out if you haven't already set it for your DVR. But it wasn't about Storage Wars. It was basically about something else. I'm going to make a video about it once the press release does go out, if this guy ever sends me the press release. But, and it was someone I worked with in the past several times for press releases, so I'm kind of surprised that they didn't get it to me on time like they were supposed to, since usually with press things, they need to be, you know, submitted at a certain time to, you know, hit the news. But anyways, not a huge deal. I guess I'll just kind of give you guys a little heads up now. I've already hinted at it on my channel. There is a video coming out about it, but I am penning a ex-Scientology memoir. And I wanted to tell you guys the name, and I had that all in the press release, but I'll give you guys a little bit of a insider information, I guess, if you watch my channel, so you get a little bit of a heads up on my book that's coming out. So my book is called, and I'm not sure, you guys have to say in the comment section below what I should call it between these two names. It's either My Scientology Memoir or My Ex-Scientology Memoir. And the reason I'm calling it that is a play off of the film that I was in, My Scientology Movie. It's kind of a play on that because it's like My Scientology Movie, and I'm going to write My Scientology Memoir. Now, my husband said that if I call it My Scientology Memoir, people would think that I am still a Scientologist, which I'm not. And if I call it My Ex-Scientology Memoir, I feel like if I call it that, then that kind of means from when I left up until this point, and that's what I kind of would consider what my ex-Scientology memoir would be, because it's focusing on, you know, my early days going into Scientology, and then after I left and like the aftermath of what happened when I left. And I have like some behind the scenes things about Storage Wars and about my Scientology movie, and I have a lot of like fun things that and I do have some very explosive stuff that I never told anyone, producers of TV shows that have called me, others, like I'm just saving all that stuff for my book. So I do have some exciting stories and things that I think will help take down Scientology, that I have all the receipts for, all the emails and everything that I would love to share with you guys in my book. I just don't know what I should call it. What do you guys think? What do you think I should call my book in the comment section below, between My Scientology Memoir or My Ex-Scientology Memoir? So that's going to be slated for release in September. It might come out a little bit earlier, a little bit later. The reason that I wanted to announce it, because if I put it out there as like this is happening, then I know that I'll like kind of give myself a little kick in the butt to finish writing my book, since it is a really long job. And if any real book editors or any copy writers or anyone out there who is in the literary world who wants to maybe help me with my book, it is a paid project. If anyone wants to help me, I do have many publishers and others that are interested, but I want to kind of have a completed manuscript before, you know, shopping it around a little bit more. So yeah, that is my first announcement. The second thing is what I think is very interesting. Not that it's really interesting, it's really pathetic more than anything, but just the persistence of the Church of Scientology. Now, when I was in Scientology, I'm telling you, like, I was at Barnes & Noble at the Grove in LA probably 3 days after I first signed up for my course in Scientology, and I showed up to course since that period, whatever, and I didn't know why. I looked at my phone like, why is the Church of Scientology calling me? And then, of course, my 18-year-old mind, oh, maybe, you know, they, you know, have something for me, like an acting job or something, because that's what they said, like, we want your number so we can call you in case we have any auditions, or we just want to check up on you and see how you're doing. Like, I didn't know the level of devotion or dedication or what I was really getting myself into until I actually walked through those doors and realized, oh, like, this is like a bigger thing that I'm getting involved with than a $50 course. I'm getting involved in this whole separate world, not even just a religion, but like a way of life. And once later on, like years later, once I felt the level of control that was exerted over me, and the different ways that they use training routines and other things as hypnotism to get me to hand over my credit card, I actually, this is a mental note, I'm going to film that video right after this in the backyard in a different color t-shirt, so it looks like I filmed it on a different day. I do want to tell you guys a little bit more, because you guys have asked me about like the hypnotism and that sort of stuff, so I am going to make that video. And I kind of want an expert to come on my channel to kind of discuss mind control, so if any of you guys are by any means, I know of a lot of people who watch my channel from all over the country, all over the world, and I could even Skype you in onto my channel. So if anyone knows a lot about mind control and wants to be on my channel, I'd love to have you on. If you have any recommendations, tag the person down below and I'll get in contact with them if they want to speak out on my channel. Again, I have a lot of people who I've wanted to have on my channel, even celebrity guests, people who are like working actors who have contacted me and have wanted to speak out, and some have shied away. And I mean, I've talked to them face to face, or I've talked to them on FaceTime and that sort of thing, so I know it's not just like an OSA email sort of thing. There are people who do want to speak out and have contacted me, and sometimes they've talked to their agents or managers or publicists about it first, and they're kind of wary about speaking out, and I totally get it. I didn't want to speak out initially, but I realized that the amount of people I'm helping and the amount of reach that I'm able to have in terms of having a voice and speaking out, like that's what I thank Louis Theroux for. Like when Louis Theroux put me in my Scientology movie, I thanked him at the Tribeca Film Festival, and I said, thank you, Louis, you know, like for giving me a voice, letting me speak out, and knowing that Scientology doesn't have that control over me, that they can't tell me like, hey, you're never gonna have a voice, you're gonna be silent, and like we're a big enough monster that we can basically shut you up. And I didn't want anyone to have that level of control over me. I say what I want, I say what I feel, even if that gets me in trouble, and I was really happy that I got the opportunity, for example, to be in my Scientology movie, to, you know, let people all around the world know about what they did to me. And, you know, if any of you guys who I may be referring to, without saying any of your names, if you see this, maybe think about it a little bit more, because I know a lot of you guys would be blown away by the type of stories that come into my email and that sort of stuff. So anyways, I'm getting sidetracked again. I'm all over the place today. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit scatterbrained, but and it's starting to rain a little bit. Of course, like the one time, guys, that I tried to film a video for you outside, like it's LA and it doesn't rain. It rains maybe like 5 days a year, and of course now it's starting to rain when I decide to just get into what I want to talk about. But anyways, unless it really starts downpouring, then I'll take the camera inside. Okay, so about the phone calls. So then Scientology would be calling me in the early days, and they would probably call me like 3 to 4 times in like the first month or two a day. And again, to any normal person that gets a phone call from a friend or something once a week, or I don't even talk to my mother 3 to 4 times a day. It's like that sort of thing, where I was getting hit up so much by them that it was a little bit of like a warning bell. But again, it was just like, hey, we have like this really great lunch or dinner we're serving at the Renaissance restaurant at Celebrity Center. It's complimentary. We're going to be doing a speech about, you know, how we're bettering lives through, you know, the IAS, CCHR, whatever. Like they always had some little like way to like invite me, or we have an acting seminar, or we want to see you on course, or we have this really great communication program we want to introduce you to, or come to the free purification program lecture on Tuesday nights at Celebrity Center, where they do get like people that are like well known. They had I didn't go to one of like the celebrity ones, but they would have, what's her face, Kelly Preston, John Travolta's wife, would do one, and they would have different celebrities that would come and host these purification seminars. And I would love to do a little undercover video in there. I don't know anyone who'll be willing to go to one of those for me at Celebrity Center, but if any of you guys are interested in going undercover for me, please let me know. I'd love to send some of my spy cameras inside Scientology. And I do have a video for you, undercover inside Big Blue. They let me in, and I didn't realize they let me in, and I went on course and I signed up and everything with one of my friends. So I've been meaning to edit that video too. This is kind of like a video diary kind of like for me right now. I'm just like letting all my thoughts out right now about Scientology. But anyways, again, like how many times did I say anyways in this video? Like 20 times. But okay, anyways. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind today. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. I've been cooped up in the house for too long, so it's kind of nice to get outside and get some fresh air. It was excessive in the beginning with the phone calls, but it was kind of not understandable, but I kind of see like they were trying to, it was almost like they had like their little telemarketing department that would call you to check up on you and introduce you to different events and different people and that sort of thing. And it was very like a business sort of thing, but I didn't really think of it as abnormal. But I wasn't really thinking them at this point as a religion. I was thinking I was just doing like some self-help courses or something like that. So I'm trying to kind of get back in that mindset. How did I feel about it? I didn't answer my phone a lot, and I don't answer my phone a lot now, and that's the other thing. A lot of the times things would just go to voicemail, and I would just get annoyed by having all the voicemails, but I did end up on the phone with them, as I'll mention. in the video, but even like a lot of like my friends or family members or people trying to get in touch with me, I never answer my phone now because it's embarrassing to say, but I don't answer my telephone because of Scientology, and I don't like being put on the spot by people in general. Like, I like knowing what we're going to talk about before we get on the phone, if that makes any sense, because there were so many instances where I would get told, like, oh, like, I just want to talk to you about, you know, like your course schedule, and then I'm on the phone for 2 hours talking about a donation for something. I'd hang up on them and be like, oh, the phone accidentally disconnected, and they'd show up to my house. They'd be like, are you home right now? Or like right around the corner. And I was always getting ambushed on the telephone, and same way via text and email, but the phone was always, it was hard for me to say no before. Now I can just be like, screw you, no, to people if I don't want to do something or whatever. But it really was hard for me, and I was in a lot of difficult predicaments on the telephone with Scientology and being pressured whether to, I had serial recruitment cycles on the phone, like was I really going to join on the telephone? And there were so many other things that would happen on the phone that I can get into more details with you guys, but just in general, like I always had like kind of like a fear in a way of the telephone, because I didn't like when people put me on the spot. I'd have people calling me, spontaneously telling me news that I didn't like, or I'd have people that would spontaneously tell me things on the phone that were shocking. So like I kind of get afraid to answer the phone a lot of the times. I like face-to-face interaction. I don't like being put on the spot, or something like, hey, like, can you meet me up right now? And I don't know how to say no to someone. So anyways, that's my own personal thing, but that just kind of gives you a little bit of a guideline of why lately, or not really lately, but you know, right after leaving Scientology, why it was always hard for me to talk to people on the phone or just answer the phone in general or anything. I let every call, any number I didn't recognize, go straight to voicemail, because I never knew if it was going to be Scientology calling me. And even to this day, sometimes I get a couple different phone calls even after I changed my number. It was hard for me to kind of start my life over again, because once I moved in to my house now, I changed my phone number. I didn't let anyone know where I was. I just needed to get away, and I needed an escape. And my way to do that was by moving, by changing my number, and I started my life over again. But Scientology still finds your phone number. I saw a thing on a Facebook page about an ex-member who's very prominent, who received a piece of mail from one of the orgs after, you know, they've been out of Scientology for years, and they got a letter. This is a very vocal person on YouTube, and just as a vocal critic in general. I don't want to tell other people's stories or that sort of thing, you know, that's not my place unless they come on my channel, but, you know, would advertise their mail. You know, not just this one person, but several ex-members still get letters and calls, and you see it sometimes on like Facebook or on Instagram or Twitter and stuff. People will post letters, and the letters will say something like, you know, you bought a copy of Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health in 1976, and you signed up for a course, yet you never started. How come? Come into our great ideal org, and we're gonna answer all your questions and let you know about all the exciting new developments in Scientology. Like, they do like a very PR level response. But again, Scientology has their huge central files, and each organ will have like whatever 500,000 files of people who've ever just signed up for even like one book course, a lecture, a service. Anytime you even give your telephone number, you show up to that org, you're never going to get off their mailing lists. Now, when I was in hairdressing school, I had a friend, and she went to Celebrity Center once. She didn't take a course or anything, and she'd actually give me their mail so I can continue to expose Scientology. So Scientology, you think that you're trying to recruit people into Scientology, and you send them your price lists, or you send them about new course developments and all that sort of stuff. You're basically giving it to me, because I know a lot of people in LA, and I know a lot of people from Celebrity Center, and a lot of people who still give me tidbits of information of what goes on there. So, you know, you're only giving information to your critics, Scientology, when you do that. By mailing people that don't want the mail. It's different if you're mailing to someone who wants it, or someone who's a parishioner, someone who, like, I would get calls like, do you want to be on the mailing list? When I was a member, I'd be like, yes, like, of course I want the brochures and all that sort of stuff. Now, if they were to ask me, like, do you want to be on the mailing list? No, no, no. And they never take out the mailing list anyways. Like, even when I would tell them no when I was in the church, like, I know a girl, she told them, no, I don't want on the purification program. Her name was actually, I just said this person's name, but I'm going to edit their name out, so I don't think it's relevant to mention their name. But they told Scientology no. Like, they got a phone call And they said, do you want like our mailings and all our stuff? And she said, no, like I don't want any of it. And then she was on the purification program, and she got pulled off of the purification program, and she ended up in ethics, and she had to write up her OWs and all this sort of stuff just because she didn't want to get the letters. And she told them, like, I just don't want the mail because I'm here every single day and I know what's going on, and it's just a waste of paper when you just send out all this stuff. So from being like a green environmentalist sort of perspective, I just don't want the mail. And they wouldn't take her off. They're like, no, if you want to be in the church, unless you want to be declared, you need to be on the mailing list, which I think is kind of crazy. When I was more deeply involved, like after like 2 years or so, I would say, or a year and a half or something, when I was there every single day, 10 hours a day, I was there for breakfast in the morning when the Rose Garden Cafe opened, all the way till like 10 p.m. at night, like when they're ready to shut the door. I was inside Scientology taking courses or receiving auditing or whatever. Like I was always there doing something. And even while I was at the org, I would be getting calls on my phone, getting text messages, go to so-and-so's office, the course supervisor would give me a message from someone else, you have to call the Pasadena org, you know, like whatever. Like there was always some way, like they were trying to get me. Like even when I was there, they still needed me to be giving money or doing something. And so many times, like they'd beg for me, come on course, come on course, come on course, calling me. And then when I'm on course, they send me to ethics. And I don't get any of my course done because my ass is in ethics. So what was the point of calling me to come on course, wasting like the one time I could maybe come on course like that week or something, and then just sending me to ethics, making me not even do Scientology, which was the purpose of you calling me to go there. But they just need to get their stats up to say that I showed up for course even though I was only on course for 15 minutes. But you know, I'd be getting a lot of those type of phone calls where I'd be on course, or I wouldn't show up on course for a few days, and I'd be getting phone calls, they'd show up to my house. It's just that the level of phone calls and the amount of mail that you get from Scientology is beyond anything that you could ever imagine. I would get maybe 15, 20, 30 pieces of mail sometimes a day from orgs all over the country, all over the world. And I didn't even show up to them. I don't know how some of you got my number. I'd get personal letters. I'd get so much stuff. Like I have those binders in my basement. Maybe I can pull up if you guys have any interest in seeing like the type of letters and the crazy stuff. But the thing is, the phone calls would get so excessive that if I didn't show up, or even if I was showing up and they just had to reach me, if they couldn't get through to me, they find my parents' numbers. Like they'd call my parents in Massachusetts, they'd call my sister, they'd find out their phone numbers, their personal cell phone numbers, they'd call relatives of mine, just being like, oh, Steven didn't show up for his class. Like they would make it very vague, or oh, we just want to see okay. I haven't heard from him. We just scare my family into calling me to reach out to them, and you know, oh, we haven't heard from him. I'd get a lot of those type of phone calls, and I'd get text messages, hundreds of text messages. You guys have no idea. And my husband actually talks about it in my main documentary. He calls, well, Scientology would call me after I escaped, like even making it known, like publicly, like I am not a member. They'd call me and he'd answer the phone to whether it's Flag, whether it was CC, whether it was like random orgs in different states. He would answer the phone and he'd impersonate like different characters. Like he would play like the El Salvadoran maid that we have. He would answer the phone as, you know, the Armenian taxi driver. He would just make up different voices just to say like Steven's not here. He changed his number. Because this was before you could really just block a caller on your iPhone. But even now, Scientology has 5 million different numbers. They have VoIP numbers and different ways that they can get through. So you can't just block the CC number because they have different extensions. So if their number ends in 9600, they own 9601, 9602, 9603, 9604, 9605. So they have 300 phone numbers for one org. So you can't really block them easily because they just keep coming in. It's just one after the next after the next. They would compete to get you, like for my congresses. I mentioned before that I had money on account at Flag because I was going to do some Flag only rundowns, and like 5 or 6 different regs and different people in the org found out that I had that money, and they were each like calling me like one after the next, emailing me, calling me, showing up to my house, like please, like just buy a set of the congresses instead of going to Flag. Because CC was trying to get their stats up for the LRH birthday event or whatever. Like they want to be the #1 org, and they usually are, because a lot of the times they would debit money off of my account, and that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother video. But I think that's kind of another story that's kind of important to tell as well, because that's fraud. That isn't that's not right. And you know, after a while, sometimes when you get 300 phone calls in a week, it kind of weighs on you that they do it very sophisticatedly, how they word the messages, how much they love you. They love bomb you, you know? I never knew how to tell them, like, fuck off, stop calling me. Because I felt like I'd get in trouble, or like this was maybe a holy group and I couldn't say that to like a priest type figure. I had all these sort of excuses, and it wasn't even just that. I was getting called so much. I was getting so much mail. Like the mail just never stopped. Like I would get mail at this address and it would say that they found my address. I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. And luckily, once I started speaking out on YouTube more, once I started, you know, making it very clear, like they didn't have any power over me. Like if you let them think that they have power in your life, or you like respect them to a certain degree or anything, they're never going to stop calling you. But if you're like, hey, I know what your deal is, screw off, I'm friends with Stephen Mango, you're allowed to say that if you're watching it at home. You can say, I'm friends with Stephen Mango, one of the biggest oppressive persons on the internet, and I don't want anything to do with Scientology. Read them OT3. Xenu, the intergalactic alien warlord, blah blah blah, like tell the whole story about 76 trillion years ago. Just whatever to get them to stop calling, because trust me, you're going to feel so much better to not have them calling you and trying to manipulate you and do training routine drills that try to, you know, wear you down to where you're just being submissive to them. Honestly, I wish I was smart enough back then to record some of the phone calls and messages and stuff, or just play some of them for you guys. I know it's probably illegal to be playing like private messages and that sort of thing, but just to show you the idea. Oh, so I have to tell you the story about when I went undercover into Scientology. So, even though I haven't shown up for a course with my friend, she went by the name Kat Jameson. Ever since Kat and I never showed up for course, we still get all the texts, we get calls on our Google Voice numbers. So it's kind of funny because even like up to this day, like that are completely them being oblivious, having no idea that they were calling me as an SP and texting me, and we'd screw around for them, be like, yeah, we're showing up for course and we want to see so and so. Like we'd say different people like that are missing, like we want to see, you know, whoever, Mike Jones, Emily Jones, like can they be there for our course? And we would just like screw around with them, like Shelly Miscavige, but they don't get it. Like it didn't even make any sense. They'd still be trying to get us to come up on course, and because we did, just for the video, we signed up for course, and we just wanted to show you guys what it was like to be on course inside Scientology. And again, like even to this day, like they still call weekly, they still text my friend, they call me, and it's kind of funny. It's my Google Voice number, so it's not a big deal, but sometimes it's kind of fun screwing around with them now. But again, this is a much longer video than I anticipated making today, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of update about my new project I'm working on. Oh yeah, so you guys, I mentioned before, tweet Leah Remini and Mike Rinder, because I'm trying to get on their show. And I feel like if I do a little bit of a social media campaign and show that you guys really want to see me on Leah Remini's show, maybe it will happen. So tweet Mike and Leah. Look out for my book in stores in a few months. I might even do a little bit of a book tour, I don't know. If Scientology is calling you, my best advice if you're trying to get the calls to stop, even after you say no, is to read OT3, even though, you know, it's kind of an extreme measure, but they don't want to be exposed to that. Tell them about Shelly Miscavige being missing. Tell them about Leah's show. Tell them about me, like whatever, like just, you know, just spew out all this in theta, whatever it is, and I guarantee that the calls are gonna completely cut off. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. And make sure tonight, if you're watching this on Wednesday, May 31st, 9 p.m., I'm on the episode L. Ron Yepper on Storage Wars. It's also going to be on ANETV.com, I believe. That's going to be streaming, so if you guys don't see it on TV, it will be streaming. Love to know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching.